we go with ghost notes. So earlier on, you learned how the ghost notes are notated, and you went through some technical aspects with me, talking about tap strokes and upstrokes. Let's take the opportunity now to put a few of those ideas into the mix and fine-tune the element of a ghost note. So I'm going to play my first ghost note as just a tap stroke. So I'm going to play my backbeat on 2, and my tap stroke is going to be what we would consider a ghost note. It's just a lighter note in contrast to my loud backbeat. So as I play this, I'm going to play my 1, and try to keep the dynamic difference at a great enough deal so that you can really just hear that soft tone as a little grace note or ghosted note. So here's the first exercise. We're going to play that nice, simple rock pattern. No big frills and thrills right now. We want to focus on the details right now, and then later on, as you build up your arsenal of goods, you can start to experiment with all the things that you start to have in your toolbox. First exercise, lesson 1. Let's take the eighth notes, make that pattern 80 BPM, and we'll play just the as our ghost note. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Again, notice the contrast of the volume of the ghost note versus the backbeat. You're really trying to set up that little inside the eighth note track of a ghost note to just be a feel thing. You could play it without it, but again, those little ghost notes can really add the grease and the substance to a pattern when you're developing your style of playing. For lesson 2, let me take you back to our upstrokes. We're going to play the E of 1 and 3, and that will be an upstroke. Again, we want to be light on the snare drum as we're lifting off the drum to produce a nice downbeat or backbeat. So as you play that, you want to think about the spacing of your 1 and as you're coming off the drum, be sensitive to the touch of your stick to the head so that it doesn't overpower and become not a ghost note, but a loud note. We want to make sure that it's got a good dynamic thrust that is different from the backbeat. So we'll do the same tempo and play a pattern where we're just focusing on the lift of the E at 80 BPM, subdividing that quarter note into eighth notes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... So now that we've examined 2 potential different ghost notes, an and an E, let's put them together now. So lesson 3, we'll play all of those ghost notes. The E, the backbeat on 2, the tap stroke on again with the lift on E of 3, with a nice backbeat on 4, with a tap stroke on the of 4. Same tempo, just again, designing tempo so that we can be real methodical about our growth as we go through the process. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Lesson 4, let's take the opportunity of getting the ghost notes to have a double component. So on my I'm going to add an and. So it's going to be 1. That can be very challenging because as you're letting go of those 2 little notes, you want to make sure again that they have a constant theme of good balanced dynamics. So here we go. Let's play the same tempo. We'll go to 80 BPM and see how our and work in the context of playing a backbeat and get those ghost notes to sit at a nice dynamic level. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So with that exercise, you see what you're up against. It's kind of challenging to put that forward and get that Anna to be at a good spot dynamically, but that's what the exercise is about. So really work your tail off and see if you can get that happening. Now that we took a look at the Anna as a ghost note, let's take a look at how that would fit for a double on the upstroke. So what we're going to play now is E-An as our ghost notes, and we want to be gentle about how we're lifting up, and we also have to synchronize our eighth notes with that 16th note, so we're going to have. Again, that can be challenging to get those in there where they don't overpower and sound too loud. So same tempo, we're going to work the E-Ans now and see how that complies with our pattern. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So as we did with the single notes, let's do the same thing with the doubles. We're going to play our ghost notes on the E-An to our backbeat on 2 with falling out to an An as the tap strokes or ghost notes, and then continue on with E-An on 3 to our backbeat on 4 with an Anna on the of 4 to get those ghost notes out as well. So it's going to be a little challenging because you don't want to get like overpowering with your left hand. You really got to watch your dynamic levels. Try to have good touch and control, and all the things that you have visited in the tap stroke assignments way back should give you some of that touch and sensibility that you're after to put this into a pattern. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now after processing what a ghost note is, use your creativity and see how you can fine tune and put different sensibilities into your grooves. It's not about just staying in one place. It's about taking the identity of that, the concept, and bringing it forward to some patterns that you might be partial to. But your assignment is to develop a good understanding of each positioning of the tap stroke ghost note, which would be the upstroke ghost note, which would be the E, and then combining those on lesson 3. So go through each lesson. Lesson 1, very nice and slow. Stick with your 80 BPM. If you find that you're having some control issues, slow it down. Same thing with lesson 2. Take your time and go through it at 80 BPM. Those tempos are pretty user-friendly, but you can always fine-tune it if you're having a struggling issue. And as far as the doubles, same thing. Go through those nice and clear and clean and see how your ghost notes start to be brought forward in your playing as well.